not a game, it's a rich thing.
Hello adventurers, and welcome to episode 2 of Zero to Hero. Before I start out, I did just want to say thank you for all of the support for episode 1. It did a lot better than I expected, and it seemed like a lot of people enjoyed the content, so I'll be keeping these up, and I'll try my best to catch up to where the account is currently, and then I'll try to speed along the process as well, so a little bit less tedious things moving forward, and then more of the content of how to actually raise your CP, how to skip the quests, and etc. So that being said, let's jump into the video. So for today, most of the things that I'll be doing is just the questing and then also improvements to the camp. So I'll kind of show you my process for raising my CP while I'm doing the quest. That way I can continuously get those tickets to skip the quest. Once you use the ticket, pretty much all you have to do is defeat the boss, and then you can move on to the next one, assuming that you have the CP requirement for the next ticket. So once you defeat the boss, I'll be pretty much raising my CP from the content that the boss unlocks, and then moving on to the next one. So it'll be a rinse and repeat process, but then also at the same time, I will be working on my camp, because your camp is very important, and because there is kind of a time constraint, you'll want to do it in the background while you're working on your other stuff as well. So like before, while you're working on this, make sure that you are doing your events, make sure you're opening all your different chests. Those chests will give you a lot of resources for your camp, so make sure you do that, because later on you will need a lot of resources to actually upgrade your camp. Early on, it's mostly just going to take a little bit of time, but after that, it's going to take a lot of resources. So whenever I am doing the main quest, and it's just going to be pretty much auto questing, like all you're going to have to do is click the quest, I am going to fast forward it. So when it's fast forwarding, just assume that I'm doing the auto quest, and then once I have something to actually say, I'll slow it down, and then anytime that I'm raising my CP, I'll also discuss with you what I'm doing to raise the CP, and then more or less what CP I'm looking for. So right here, I just opened up my free accessory, and then I got my CP up to 360. That way I could accept this ticket. And then once I got this ticket, I used it, and then it gave me some levels. It also gave me the quest progression. So you'll get some items, some knowledge, some quest progression, and some XP from doing these. So whenever you do that, it won't always put you to the CP that you need, but it will give you some things to work towards your CP as well. So there you just saw I got some accessories, but also what I'm looking for is there anything else? Something else that it could give you is those dark crystals, so you can use those for your black spirit. And since there wasn't anything, I'm kind of looking at, okay, well, what's next? I should probably just do the quest then. So what I'm gonna do is do the quest, and then I will defeat the boss, and then once I defeat the boss, it'll unlock more content for me. That way I can get more CP. So it's definitely a rinse and repeat. Just keep doing this over and over, and you'll get to the CP that you need, but I'll show you what I mean by that. And then also, if you have any gear that you don't need, so like the white gear, if you have better gear than that, or if you have accessories that you don't need, just go ahead and feed that to your black spirit. That'll give you some CP as well. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of running around my area and picking up pieces of knowledge as well. The knowledge can give your workers some extra stats, so it could make them work faster, and then also it can also give you some CP as well. So that's always good to pick up, but not necessary. Alright, so we unlocked a new version of our Black Spirit, so that's pretty cool. What I did want to talk about really quickly as well, which I'll be pulling up, is going to be your knowledge. So I've been alluding to it, but you can get knowledge from just getting things from around the world. You can get it from going to different maps. You can get it from talking to NPCs, and then you can also get it from doing the quests. So while you're doing these, you'll unlock different challenges, and then these challenges will give you some small stamina potions. So those are pretty good. So always kind of be on the lookout for that. As I progress, I'll kind of show you more or less different ways to actually get this knowledge in a pretty efficient way. For right now, what I'm going to end up doing is just do the quest, I'll gain knowledge that way, and then whatever's left over, I'll go back and get it. There is a lot of knowledge out in the world, so just be aware that it is a little bit time consuming trying to catch up on that. So whenever you're in your camp, make sure that you do these quests. They'll give a lot of XP for your contribution, and again, your contribution is going to be what allows you to hire more workers, but then also it allows you to hire higher tier workers as well. For your camp, you can you'll need seeds, and then you can just click plant all, and then based on whatever seed you put, it'll take a certain amount of time for it to grow. Once it's grown, you can collect all of that harvest, and then that'll give you the food for your workers to work, and then also for you to build more buildings. So anytime that you're in your camp, make sure that you are trying to upgrade these different buildings, and then also use the workers that have the highest strength. So whenever you're upgrading buildings, it's kind of going to be already listed out who has the highest strength. Use the one at the top, and then just kind of go from there. The higher the strength, the quicker that you'll build it. So that'll just speed the process up a little bit. So here I came to Forest of Plunder. I just wanted to get some extra CP from knowledge from defeating some of these monsters, as well as get some levels. What I just bought there were soups. You can buy them in the Pearl Shop, and those soups will give you additional combat XP, but then also increases your drop rate. From here, I'm kind of just exploring what are my options to actually get some CP. So I'm looking through light stones, I'm looking through the dark energy crystals, and then I'm just trying to get some levels by defeating monsters, and then also I'm trying to get some levels by feeding my black spirit. Getting your black spirit to a higher level early on is really helpful, just because there's a lot of stuff that you can do, you have to do manually with your black spirit until it's a certain level. So once it's like past level 60 or something like that, it makes it a lot easier to work with. And then also what I'm doing is doing some boss rushes. Boss rushes are also a great way to get some CP. But just because my level for it's so low, I figured I would just do that, see how much silver I got from it, how much XP I got from it. And then also what I'm doing is I'm equipping my light stones. So light stones have different effects to them, and then for the ones that I'm equipping, they'll either have CP or they'll have field XP increase. So either of those are pretty good. Field XP increase would be something to help you level up faster, and then the CP would just be something to boost your CP early on. Since CP is kind of my primary objective right now, that's what I'm going for. And then I'm also adjusting my presets for my black spirit, so things that it will actually consume. So you can change the grade for the gear, you can change the grade for the crystals, and then I'm kind of just checking my inventory as well. Alright, so this is actually where I decided to do what I should have been doing the entire time, which is just continue the main quest. I also make this purchase right here for this all-inclusive chest. This chest it'll unlock a lot of different things for me. So my camp manager, my black spirit, so The camp manager, she'll automatically plant seeds for you. Combat Plus will give you more XP. It'll also make it easier for you to do boss rushes as well as expeditions. So that's $10. It's an investment, so it's definitely your choice. You don't necessarily need to use it. I hadn't used it for maybe like a whole year of me playing this game before I finally decided to just use it. But something else that you can do is there are partners who do live streams, and they'll give away these chests, and it's a really good value. I think it's like a $20 value. So those chests, there's going to be 2 months worth. You'll just have to go to like a partner stream for that, and then they'll do giveaways. The ones that I'm aware of, I will link them in the description, but I think you have to be in the Americas region. So if you're outside of that, so if you're in like Europe or Asia, try to find a content creator for your area, and then see if they're doing a giveaway of any kind. And those are really nice ways to get those for free. So here I knew that I needed more CP to unlock the next ticket, so that way I could skip the story. So I did some boss rushes, and then also what I'm going to be doing is enhancing my gear. So early on it's really easy to enhance your gear. It's like really quick and easy CP. So if you do this pretty much first, it's a good way to get some quick CP. And then you probably won't have to go through all that extra stuff that I have been doing anyways. So hopefully this will be a learning lesson for you, just to skip pretty much everything that I've been doing up until now, and then try to do what I start doing moving forward. One more note though, even if you were to use that ticket, you'll still have to do these quests to complete like the final boss portion of it. So just because you do the ticket doesn't mean you can immediately do the next one. So there are other steps that you need to take within the story while you're doing it. So just kind of keep that in mind, and I'll kind of show you what I mean as I go along as well. But that being said, I am actually going to pivot back into the camp just to make sure that we're keeping up with it, make sure that you're always doing the work early on, especially because the earlier stages, building it, the early levels, it doesn't take as much time, but eventually it will build up to take a lot of time. So make sure that your camp buildings are at the highest level, and then also make sure that you're building as many buildings that are available. So here you'll constantly see me check the town hall just to see what the next requirements are to get the next tier camp. So those are going to be your priorities. Make sure you do whatever you need to do to get your camp to the next tier. So something that always helps is hiring more workers. So if you can, make some more lodgings. That way you can hire some more, and then early on you can prioritize the workers who have higher strength, just to make sure that they build quicker. And since for these earlier workers, you're most likely going to be firing them eventually anyways, it's okay to heavily index on strength. And the reason you're going to be firing them is because eventually you'll be upgrading all of these workers to yellow tiered workers. So the blues are going to be gone, the gray workers are going to be gone as well, and then the green ones are going to be gone. You can keep the purples for as long as you need, but eventually you will be swapping all of them out, so keep that in mind. Here I'm going to go back into doing the family quest. Doing family quests will also unlock different pieces of content, so I have to do Red Nose Boss again, which I didn't plan for because as you can see I had actually used all of my passes, so I'll just go ahead and get some more. And then what I'll also do, keep in mind that you can always increase the difficulty by up to five difficulties higher than where you're currently at. So that can save you some passes in the future, and then also that kind of just gives you more XP if you were to do that instead of doing like at one at a time. So back when I had first started playing the game, you had to do every single level one at a time, so being able to skip 5 is really nice. Now that we've done that family quest, we have unlocked Shakatu's shop. So this is actually a really good resource for getting other equipment, so you can get your main weapon, your sub weapon, your gear, your gloves, your helmet, your boots. So this is really good for helping your Black Spirit get some levels as well. I will say this though, you can get 3 different tiers of this shop. So there's tier 1, 2, and 3. The higher the tier, the more coins that you'll be using every time, but the higher chance that you'll have to get better grade armor or better grade weapons. So again, later on, that's going to be really good for your Black Spirit, but early on, you definitely don't have a lot of coins. The best way to get some coins would be by doing either boss rushes or by doing some ancient ruins. So now that I've used that shop, I've actually gotten some better equipment. So what I'm gonna do is transfer these enhancements to the new one. For the lower level gear, you actually don't get the full transfer, but you will pretty much always have higher CP from doing it anyway. So it's definitely worth doing early on.
What's happening? The staff is shaking. It only does this in the presence of dark energy.
So now that I've completed that quest, I can actually use this ticket finally. So I'm gonna be skipping the story, and then from here, all I'll need to do is finish a boss rush. So just continue the story, rinse and repeat, keep doing that, and then make sure that your CP is high enough to keep collecting these tickets. So here is another quest that's a family quest. This is going to be unlocking ancient ruins. So do this as early as possible because ancient ruins is also really good for your CP. Alright, so for Ancient Ruins, you can only do it the amount of times that your level of knowledge is, up until a certain point, I think. So for level 1, the max I can do is 1 time, but Ancient Ruins is really good for getting coins, for getting some XP, for getting silver, and when I say coins, I mean the ancient gold coins for Shakatu's shop. And then also, once you have a little bit higher CP, if you can do tier 3 ancient ruins, that's going to be a great way to get pets early on. So you'll get this baby Kabua, and that's going to be a good resource for your lower tier pets. So if you have like a tier 2 dog, you can use the baby Kabua to make it into a tier 3. So that way you don't have to use another one of those pets that you'll need for your pet album in the future anyways. And then here we're finally getting back into the main quest. Sorry, I'm always getting sidetracked doing different things. I am just trying to get my CP raised so that way I can keep getting those tickets for the quest. So I'll be fast forwarding as much as possible, and then whenever something happens, I will jump back in. and I'm actually back already. So normally whenever I'm doing boss rushes, I do something else with my time. So because I know that my gear can be upgraded, and I know that Shakatu gives really good, or Shakatu, excuse me, gives really good gear upgrades, I'm going to go ahead and keep rolling for like a blue gear for all the pieces that I don't have gear for. So for like my helmet, for my sub weapon, and then my boots, and then gloves. Alright, so doing that, I am able to skip another quest, so I'll go ahead and be using this ticket, and then if there's something else, I will come back. So just as a reminder, anytime you complete one of these story quests, or once you get some levels, make sure that you're going to your event tab and then collecting these growth support events. So these are going to be really good for helping you build your CP, especially once you get past Serendia. You'll get some really good stuff, so always keep that in mind. So this you don't necessarily need to do. I'm just gathering with my workers to kind of see how long it takes. Because early on you get so much, or so many resources, I would definitely skip doing this and then prioritize just making them build more things for your camp and then do different upgrades. So here I'm just gathering knowledge around Velia. Again, this is something that you can wait to do until later. Me, on the other hand, I'm just doing trial and error right now, trying to figure out what would be the best thing to do early on this account. So I definitely do apologize. This could be optimized a bit better, but for right now it's a bit of a filler episode, so we'll go ahead and get through it, and then the next couple will just be speeding through. The account's currently around 20,000 CP, so it's doing pretty well, and that was only from days 2 and 3. So this day I definitely don't get a lot of CP, but I ramp it up pretty quickly after this one. And then here, anytime that you have an upgrade for an item or for any type of equipment, make sure that you are transferring those enhancements to them, because you will end up with higher CP as a result. Here I'm just entering a fame code. This is the code for my other account. I'll leave it in the description. You definitely don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's something that's gonna very slightly help my account, so I decided to do it anyways. And then as you've kind of seen in the background, all I've been doing is just doing some boss rushes, fixing my gear, adjusting my inventory, so I'm kind of cleaning everything up for myself. That way it's easier for me to do here in the future. I also hate to say this, but this is pretty much gonna be the end of episode 2. I had planned on getting a lot more done, but I'm currently in Kansas right now. I'm from Texas, so there's a lot going on for me. So hopefully I will be able to get the next episode out as soon as possible later this week. But again, I hope you did enjoy it. Any likes, comments, and subscriptions I very much appreciate. But again, I will be leaving this fame code in the description, so if you want to use it, go ahead and use it. It's good for your account, especially if it's new. And then also, if you have any feedback, please just let me know. And again, I do apologize that this episode was a bit of a filler episode, but hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.
No shades, a wave to yesterday. The sunlight